What's going on, Serge? Shit, I missed another damn Pablo today. Yeah, he was on the end game. Uh, don't be in there trying to snipe end games, man. That ain't what you do. Don't be following me.
Ever seen before, and it suggests that whatever extraterrestrial civilization may have sent it out was incredibly advanced. NASA has been monitoring the star systems for signs of alien life for years, and all the effort put into the venture finally seems to be paying off with the ongoing research into these new, strange radio messages. Speculations surrounding this strange radio signal are already fraught with questions about the real purpose of the signal. Some factions in the science community think that if these messages are truly from an alien civilization from outer space, the message might be one of peace from some more advanced neighbors. Another faction believes it might be a warning. Maybe the civilization has gotten some information about an impending catastrophe heading toward Earth and has sent a message to warn us. Another school of thought speculates that the signal could contain a blueprint for some advanced technology our neighbors have decided to share with us, which could revolutionize the world. However, where the signal came from is of more interest. The Proxima Centauri system carries a lot of secrets in its bosom. These secrets are so vast and deep that scientists have only begun to scratch the surface. Proxima Centauri has a rocky planet in its Goldilocks zone. This planet is known as Proxima b. Proxima b has all it takes to support life.
With Shopify's mobile app, you can handle your business anywhere. Add and edit products, refresh your online store, and more, all on the go. Shopify, your all-in-one commerce platform.
Originality is overrated. Want to cook something new? Watch this. Want to invest? Start here. Get ideas from millions of investors on eToro. Get social, get smarter, get invested. eToro. Investing. Originality not required.
So the fact that this advanced radio signal is coming from such a close star system that has a habitable planet has further strengthened the belief that we might be on the verge of discovering extraterrestrial life. The last faction in the science community fears the radio messages might be a trap set by a hostile extraterrestrial civilization interested in invading the Earth. It's just like we've seen in almost every movie on aliens, except maybe E.T. Aliens always want to take over the Earth. This faction also believes that the radio message might contain a virus or some other harmful technology which would most likely be used against us. Scientist Andrew Siemian and his team from the University of California spent several months studying the signal. The scientists found that the waves had some distinct properties. These strange properties made the signal very different from anything they had ever seen before. They found that the radio messages had a very low signal-to-noise ratio, which made them harder to detect. The signal also had an extremely narrow radio spectrum band. Waves or signals with such narrow spectrum bands cannot be traced to transmission from human-made satellites and spacecraft. This very reason made the detection of these messages a truly intriguing phenomenon because, for all purposes and intent, no way would it have been detected by our satellites or any current human technology. To make things even more interesting, the signal passed many of the team's astronomical checks, making it even more confusing. In the words of Andrew Seaman, we are not aware of a way to naturally compress electromagnetic energy into a single bit, and with a frequency exhibited by this radio signal. As the team of scientists, led by Andrew Seaman, continued their analysis of the mysterious radio signal, they discovered more fascinating details about the properties of the wave. Scientists have found that the signal was highly polarized. What this means is that the electric field of the radio message vibrated in a specific direction. This signal property is quite unusual for a naturally occurring radio wave. This singular property suggests that the radio signal must have been artificially created. In addition to this, the signal had a periodicity of 16.35 days. This shows that it repeats every 16.35 days. This specific periodicity added another layer of complexity to the signal. The periodicity made the team assume that the signal might be coming from an orbiting object with a highly eccentric orbit. As our team dug deeper into the data provided by this signal, they discovered that the intensity of the signal varied over time, dotted with higher intensity bursts occasionally. These bursts of high intensity were irregular and did not follow an easily discernible pattern. Again, this added to the mystery of the radio message. This irregularity in the pattern of the high-intensity bursts from the signal led the researchers to reason that the signal could have some interference from artificial objects, such as satellites or spacecraft. However, the narrow spectrum band and other unique signal properties made the possibility of being made from human technology highly unlikely. Seaman Andrew also hypothesized that the signal could be a result of an exotic quirk of plasma physics, because, as of now, there is no known natural way to compress electromagnetic energy into such a narrow radio spectrum band. Andrew, however, cautioned that this was only a theory and that more research would be needed to determine the source of the incredibly concentrated radio wave more accurately. The project that detected the radio message breakthrough was a massive undertaking by Andrew Seaman. Billionaire Yuri Milner backed this undertaking financially. The project aimed to scour the cosmos for evidence of technological civilizations by observing radio telescopes worldwide. This program was launched in 2015, and the announcement was made grandly, with lots of A-listers present, including an appearance from the late Stephen Hawking and other space and science heavyweights. From that point of launching, Andrew and his team have searched the skies almost non-stop for signs of extraterrestrial life. This makes this strange radio signal detection a big breakthrough and a potentially significant development in astrobiology. Jason Wright, an astronomer at the Pennsylvania State University, has been another highly vocal proponent of this discovery. His comment on the discovery of the radio signal has generated a large buzz of excitement amongst the scientific community. According to Wright, many people are yet to understand that the discovery of this highly complex radio signal was not an accident. In actuality, scientists and astronomers have dedicated valuable time to collecting data from Proxima Centauri, the red dwarf star that is closest to our system's sun, for several years. The data collected from the dwarf star started in April 2019, when a team of scientists partnered with Breakthrough to listen in search of signs of extraterrestrial intelligence. The team used the Parkes Radio Telescope, situated in Australia, to observe Proxima Centauri for any signs of flares. The goal of this observation was to understand how the flares from the red dwarf, Proxima Centauri, would affect the planets in the system, particularly Proxima b. Proxima b was discovered in 2016 and is almost 1.2 times larger than our planet Earth, and has an 11-day orbit around its major star, the Proxima Centauri. It was during this signal collection process that the researchers stumbled on this unique signal. This signal is like nothing they have ever seen. The fact that it was
This is our home. This is intent. This is our family. This is just the beginning. This is us. This is the way. Disney. This is my Disney. When I code immersive experiences, my thoughts, feelings, ideas come alive. Every line of code creates new worlds. Every action cuts the chaos until there's only calm. This is how it feels when I master my flow.
coming from somewhere other than Earth fueled the speculation that it had to be evidence of extraterrestrial life because of its advanced complexity. Despite the excitement that followed its discovery, scientists, however, remain cautious as to how best to approach the situation and decode the message. They know that there are many potential explanations for the signal and how it came to be. Apart from the Breakthrough team, researchers from the Max Planck Institute for Astronomy and many other organizations have been involved in analyzing this signal. Let's just say a lack of experienced staff will not be a problem in the quest to decode the message. The biggest challenge in analyzing this signal is that it is very faint. It was detected by a single antenna at the Parkes Radio Telescope in Australia. The fact that it was detected through a single antenna makes it difficult to pinpoint the exact location from where the signal was sent. To get a hang of where the signal may have originated from, scientists use interferometry. Interferometry is a special technique that combines data from multiple telescopes to create a more detailed image. Another interesting aspect of the Proxima Centauri system is that it has a second planet, Proxima c. Proxima c was discovered in 2019. This planet is many times larger than Proxima b, and it orbits Proxima Centauri at a distance farther than any planet in our solar system orbiting the Sun. Scientists are still studying the proximity to understand its circumstance. Scientists are also closely monitoring the planet to know if it can support any form of life. Knowing if indeed Proxima c can support life would go a long way toward helping unravel the mystery surrounding this radio signal gotten from somewhere around that system. On a different note, the discovery of this signal, which might prove the presence of extraterrestrial life, has sparked renewed interest in the hearts of many concerning a matter that many have decided was impossible: interstellar travel. While Earthlings may not yet possess technology that would permit us to travel between stars, the discovery of this potential extraterrestrial signal makes some researchers believe that it is wise to send a signal of our own back to the Proxima Centauri system. However, this approach has raised several ethical questions. Many researchers are hesitant to send any message to the stars until we have a better understanding of what the signal is. Their hesitation is well understood, because we wouldn't want to give a potentially hostile alien race an open invitation to invade the Earth. Marvel and DC have shown that that does not usually end well. Superman and Thor do not exist, so that means we would be, to a large extent, left to our own fate. Sophia Shake, a brilliant scientist from Pennsylvania State University, has overseen the subsequent analysis of the signal for the Breakthrough Listen project for many years. She has spent hours scouring data from radio telescopes and sifting through the background noise for even the faintest hint of extraterrestrial intelligence. Before this historical radio message was stumbled upon, and after the signal survived the numerous testing process designed to sift out any trace of terrestrial interference, Sophia and her team had tagged the purified signal Breakthrough Listen Candidate 1, or BLC-1. They knew they would have to put the signal through further testing to glean as much information as they could, and to verify that the signal did indeed come from deep space, and not a product of some fluke amateur experiment from the Earth. To ensure this, Sophia and her team returned to the telescope and scanned the skies for a week. The team used a procedure called nodding, which involved pointing the telescope at a specific target and looking elsewhere in the sky for a similar amount of time. After weeks of undertaking this test, they were left with one conclusion. The Breakthrough Listen signal was most likely of extraterrestrial origins. As the team continued to study and analyze the BLC-1 signal, they discovered it was not a one-time event. It appeared to be a recurring pattern of radio waves which came from the direction of Proxima Centauri, with a surprising regularity too. This discovery only added to the excitement around the BLC-1 signal wave. This meant that wherever the signal had come from was a stable source. This discovery made it all the more obvious that the signal was not just any random occurrence or noise or even a mere interference. Its lack of modulation or information-carrying tweaks only added to the mystery of the radio signal. It was also discovered that the signal was not just a simple burst of radio waves, but a rather complex pattern of frequencies that seemed to defy any natural explanation. The signal comes in bursts and is often dotted by long periods of silence, unlike the behavior shown by waves detected from natural sources, which display a more continuous signal. It was when all these observations were put together that scientists came up with the wild possibilities around extraterrestrial life. Scientists assumed that this signal was a sign of an alien civilization using some kind of advanced alien technology. This technology is currently beyond our human maneuvering, as the signal is yet to be deciphered. Yuri Milner, the tech billionaire who is funding Project Breakthrough, was intrigued by the possibilities which the BLC-1 presented. Yuri was convinced that this was the real deal and not another false alarm. He encouraged his team to pursue every avenue of research possible to crack the code. Months of intense analysis followed to ensure that the signal was clean of anything that could connect it to natural or earthly sources. The team combed through large amounts of data, taking extra care to look out for patterns or correlations which may suggest an explanation. The team even considered that the signal was a product of some species of physical phenomenon, maybe some kind of cosmic radiation. The breakthrough team still believes there could be a natural explanation for this mysterious data. They are determined to rule out all possible natural phenomena before cementing their belief that the signal is proof of extraterrestrial life. The last thing anyone would want is to raise hopes concerning this signal, only to have it dashed after finding that it was, in fact, another false alarm. Despite the uncertainty surrounding the strange radio message concerning its origin and purpose, BLC-1 remains one of the most intriguing signals detected by any space research program. What do you think about this strange signal reaching Earth from space? Do you believe that it is proof of advanced life forms trying to establish contact? Do you think that we should send a message back to deep space and hope for an answer? Thanks for watching another episode of Voice. While you're still here, be sure to click the video on the screen for more quality content.
I think it's actually not that hard because we are the only civilization in the galaxy right now. Yeah, that's currently extant. But there may be very many extinct civilizations. If each civilization has a typical lifetime comparable to, let's say, AI at the demise of our own, there's only a few hundred years of technological development, or maybe 10,000 years if we go back to the Neolithic Revolution and dawn of agriculture. Hardly anything in cosmic time span. That's nothing. It's a blink of an eye. And so it's not surprising at all that we would happen to coexist within an entity. But that doesn't mean nobody else was ever here. And if other civilizations come to that same conclusion and realization, if they scour the galaxy around them, they find any evidence of intelligence, then they have two options. They can either give up on communication and just say, well, it's never going to happen. We just may as well just, worry about what's happening here on our own planet. Or they could attempt communication, but communication through time.
The following is a conversation with David Kipping, an astronomer and astrophysicist at Columbia University, director of the Cool World Lab, and he's an amazing educator about the most fascinating scientific phenomena in our universe. I highly recommend you check out his videos on the Cool World YouTube channel. David quickly became one of my favorite human beings. I hope to talk to him many more times in the future. This is the Let's Move On podcast. To support it, please check out our sponsors in the description. And now, dear friends, here's David Kipping. Your research at Columbia is in part focused on what we call cool worlds, or worlds outside our solar system where temperature is sufficiently cool to allow for moons, rings, and life to form, and for us humans to observe it. So, can you tell me more about this idea, this place of cool world?
Yeah, the history of discovering planets outside our solar system was really dominated by these hot planets. And that's just because of the fact they're easier to find. When the very first methods came online, these were primarily the Doppler spectroscopy method, looking for wobbling stars, and also the transit method. And these two both have a really strong bias towards finding these hot planets. Now, hot planets are interesting. The chemistry in their atmosphere is fascinating. It's very alien. An example of one that's particularly close to my heart is TRACE 2b, whose atmosphere is so dark it's less reflective than coal. And so they have really bizarre photometric properties. Yet at the same time, they resemble nothing like our own home. And so, I said there's two types of astrophysicists. The astrophysicists who care about how the universe works. They want to understand the mechanics of the machinery of this universe. Why did the Big Bang happen? Why is the universe expanding? How are galaxies formed? And there's another type of astrophysicist which perhaps speaks to me a little bit more. It whispers into your ear, and that is why we're here. Are we alone? Are there others out there? And ultimately, along this journey, the hot planets aren't going to get us there. When we're looking for life in the universe, it seems to make perfect sense that there should be planets like our own out there, maybe even moons like our own planet around gas giants that could be habitable. And so my research has been driven by trying to find these more terraqueous globes that might resemble our own planet.
So they're the ones that lurk more in the shadows in terms of how difficult it is to detect.
They're much harder. They're harder for several reasons. The method we primarily use is the transit method, so this is really eclipses. As the planet passes in front of the star, it blocks out some starlight. The problem with that is that not all planets pass in front of their star. They have to be aligned correctly from your line of sight. And so the further away the planet is from the star, the cooler it is, the less likely it is that you're going to get that geometric alignment. So whereas a hot Jupiter, about 1% of hot Jupiters will transit into their star, only about 0.5%, maybe even 1/4% of Earth-like planets will have the right geometry to transit. And so that makes it much, much harder for us.
What's the connection between temperature on the planet and geometrical alignment? Probability of geometrical alignment.
There's not a direct connection, but they're connected by an intermediate parameter, which is their separation from the star. So the planet will be cooler if it's further away from the star, which in turn means the probability of getting that alignment correct is going to be less. On top of that, they also transit their star less frequently. So if you go to the telescope and you want to discover a hot Jupiter, you could probably do it in a week or so, because the orbital periods of order of 1, 2, 3 days, so you can actually get the full orbit 2 or 3 times over. Whereas if you want to set an Earth-like planet, you have to observe that star for 3, 4 years. And that's actually one of the problems with Kepler. Kepler was this very successful mission that NASA launched over a decade ago now, I think, and it discovered thousands of planets. It's still the dominant source of exoplanets that we know about. But unfortunately, it didn't last as long as we would have liked it to. It died after about 4.35 years, I think it was, and so for an Earth-like planet, that's just enough to capture 4 transits. And 4 transits was kind of seen as the minimum. But of course, the more transits you see, the easier it is to detect it, because you build up signal to noise. You see the same thing tick, 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 tick. The more ticks you get, the easier it is to find it. And so it was really a shame that Kepler was just at the limit of where we were expecting it to start to see Earth-like planets. And in fact, it really found 0. 0 planets that are around stars like the Sun, that orbit similar to the Earth around the Sun, and could potentially be similar to our own planet in terms of its composition. And so it's a great shame, but that's why it gives astronomers more to do in the future.
Just to clarify, the transit method is our primary way of detecting these things. And what it is when the object occludes the source of light just a tiny bit, a few pixels. And from that, we can infer something about its mass, the size, the distance, the geometry, all of that. That's like trying to tell what at a party you can't see anything about a person, but you can just see by the way they occlude others. So this is the method, but this is super far away. How many pixels of information do you have? Basically, how high resolution is the signal that we can get about these occlusions?
You're right in your description. I think, just to build upon that a little bit more, it might be almost like your vision is completely blurry. Like you have an extreme, hyperscription, and so you can't resolve anything. Everything's just blurs, but you can tell that something is there because it just got fainter for a short amount of time. Someone passed in front of a light, and so that light in your eyes would just dim for a short moment. Now, the reason we have that problem with blurriness, the resolution, is just because the stars are so far away. I mean, these are the closest stars are 4 light years away, but most of the stars Kepler looks at are thousands of light years away. And so there's absolutely no chance that the telescope can physically resolve the star, or even the separation between the planet and the star is too small, especially for a telescope like Kepler. It's only 1 meter across. In principle, you can make those detections, but you need a different kind of telescope. We call that direct imaging. And direct imaging is a very exciting, distinct way of detecting planets. But it, as you can imagine, is going to be far easier to detect planets which are really far away from their star to do that, because that's going to make that separation really big. And then you also want the star to be really close to us, so the nearest stars. Not only that, but you would prefer that planet to be really hot. Because the hotter it is, the brighter it is. And so that tends to bias direct imaging towards planets from the process of forming. So things which have just formed the planet still got all of this primordial heat embedded within it, and it's glowing. We can see those quite easily. But for the planets more like the Earth, of course, they've cooled down, and so we can't see that. The light is pitiful compared to a newly formed planet. We would like to get there with direct imaging. That's the dream, is to have the pale blue dot, an actual photograph of it, maybe even just a 1 pixel photograph of it. But for now, the entire solar system is 1 pixel with a cylinder transmat for most other telescopes. And so all you can do is see where that 1 pixel, which contains potentially dozens of planets and the star, maybe multiple stars, dims for a short amount of time.
It dims just a little bit, that you can infer something.
Yeah, I mean, it's like being a detective on the scene, right? It's indirect clues of the existence of the planet.
It's amazing that humans can do that. They're just looking out in these immense distances and looking, if there's alien civilizations out there, like, let's say one exactly like our own, would we even be able to see an Earth that passes in the way of its sun and slightly dimmed? And that's the only sign we have of that alien human-like civilization out there. Is it's just a little bit of a dimming.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the type of star we're talking about. If it is a star truly like the sun, the dip that causes is 84 parts per million. I mean, it's like the same as as like a firefly flying in front of like a giant floodlight at a stadium or something. That's the kind of the brightness contrast that you're trying to compare to. So it's extremely difficult detection, and in the very, very best case,
We didn't get shit. Listen to the fan.
Others, when you gaze upon the vast expanse of space it is part of. In this space, strange objects, or perhaps visitors, lurk around. However, today, a visitor from afar, the Oumuamua, has returned in its mysterious aura, leaving everyone with a strong impression as it pierced through space. What is Oumuamua? What's its purpose, and why has it shown up? Keep watching to find out. No space object has occupied scientists like the Oumuamua has for years. Amazingly, the strange object is recognized by scientists as the first known interstellar object to visit our solar system. It was discovered on October 19, 2017 by Robert Webb using the Pan-STARRS telescope at Haleakala Observatory, Hawaii, and has kept scientists busy since its discovery. Oumuamua is a cigar-shaped object about 100 to 1,000 meters long and about 35 to 167 meters wide. Even without considering its weird shape, everything about the object seems weird, from its red color to its weird behavior, which is similar to objects in the solar system. Let's explore some of the weird attributes of this object, shall we? First, despite its close approach to the sun, the Oumuamua showed no signs of having a coma or visible dust. It has also exhibited non-gravitational acceleration, potentially due to outgassing or a push from solar radiation pressure. Though it has a rotation rate similar to that of our solar system asteroids, not many valid models permit it to be more elongated than all but a few other natural bodies. In clear terms, Oumuamua's origin is unknown. It could have been ejected from a planet or a star system in another galaxy, or it could have been formed in the early solar system, then ejected by a gravitational interaction with a planet. Oumuamua's discovery is a significant event in the history of astronomy. It is the first time that we've observed an object from another star system, and it provides us with a unique opportunity to learn more about the universe beyond our own. It is also the first object being observed traveling faster than the escape velocity of the sun. The first object observed exhibiting non-gravitational acceleration. The first object to be observed with a cigar-shaped morphology. And the first object observed that is likely to be alien origin. Oumuamua's trajectory suggests it came from the constellation Lyra, about 600 light years away. It passed through the solar system on September 9, 2017, at around 196,000 miles per hour, 87.3 kilometers per second. It is now on its way back out of the solar system. The origin and nature of Oumuamua are a mystery. There are different speculations about the object that can sometimes be hilarious. Some scientists believe it is a comet shaped from its atmosphere. Others believe it is an asteroid that is elongated by tidal forces. Still others believe it is an artifact object, such as a probe sent out by an alien civilization. It is also possible that it is formed in a binary star system, where one of the stars was much more massive than the other. When the more massive star died, it would have blown away the outer layers of the less massive star, sending comets and asteroids out into space. Oumuamua may have been one of these objects, or none. In an attempt to stay safe, Oumuamua is thought to be a comet or asteroid that was ejected from another star-blown system. It is also thought to be very old and is estimated to be at least 100 million and possibly billions of years old. It has a very low albedo, reflecting very little light. This suggests that it has been traveling through space for a long time and has been exposed to much cosmic radiation. So why is the Oumuamua so strange? The Oumuamua is so strange because it doesn't fit into our previous knowledge of space objects. What is the mystery behind Oumuamua? Let's consider the odds, shall we? First, some scientists believe the Oumuamua is nothing but a comet, but it seems to have lost its coma, which is not too regular for the comets in our solar system. The next bet is that it is an asteroid, but even this is a worst pick, as asteroids are gravity-bound. Oumuamua is not. Some scientists have speculated that Oumuamua could be an alien spacecraft. And though Loeb stands for this argument, not many scientists support him, as there is no evidence to support his theory. This leaves the Oumuamua with other possibilities that also lack good evidence. For instance, the Oumuamua could be a piece of a planet that was destroyed by a collision. It could be a fragment of a comet that was torn apart by the sun's gravity. It could be a natural satellite that was
Motherfucker could be anything. Motherfucker could be an
it could
elephant,
also be
clown.
a man-made object, such as a space probe. And it is also possible that Oumuamua is something that we have never seen before. The list goes on. Like this isn't enough, the Oumuamua also has a weird acceleration rate, and several possible explanations exist. One possibility is its outgassing of gas and dust from its surface. As the object heats up, the gas and dust are released, creating a pressure that would push the object forward. Another possibility is that Oumuamua is a comet that has lost its cona. The cona is a cloud of gas and dust that surrounds comets. When a comet gets close to the sun, the heat from the sun causes the ice in the cona to vaporize, creating a trail of gas and dust. However, Oumuamua showed no signs of a cona when it was observed. Its outgassing system seems to have also made its surface clear, showing no dust but a layer resembling ice beneath it. Still, on its acceleration, some scientists explore the possibility that Oumuamua is propelled by solar radiation pressure. Solar radiation pressure is a very...
Look, Steph, I got an instant online offer on my car from CarMax in under 2 minutes.
Well, I got an instanter offer on my car, even faster.
Instanter? That's not a thing.
It is.
Not even a word. Get a real offer real fast and good for 7 days at CarMax.com.
For memories that last and produce that lasts longer too. Only Frigidaire's crisp, smooth, fresh Crispers has an antioxidant filter to help you waste less food. Frigidaire.
Very weak force, but it can be significant for objects that are very large or very thin. Oumuamua is a very elongated object, so solar radiation pressure may play a role in its acceleration. Finally, it is also possible that Oumuamua's acceleration is due to some other unknown force, maybe that of alien control, as argued by Loeb. In 2023, two teams of astronomers came together and proposed that the acceleration of Oumuamua could be explained by the release of hydrogen gas from the object's surface. Oumuamua was observed to accelerate away from the Sun as it passed through our solar system, even though it was not expected to do so based on its gravitational interactions with the Sun and other planets. This acceleration could not be explained by any known cometary or asteroid activity. It led speculations that Oumuamua might be an alien spacecraft. Jennifer Bergner and Daryl Seligman of the University of Arizona proposed the hydrogen gas theory. They suggest that Oumuamua is composed of hydrogen ice formed in interstellar space. As it passed close to the Sun, the heat from the Sun caused the hydrogen ice to sublimate or turn directly from solid to a gas. This released hydrogen gas would have escaped from the object's surface, providing a small thrust that would have caused Oumuamua to accelerate away from the Sun. The hydrogen gas theory is supported by several observations. For example, Oumuamua was observed to have a very elongated shape, which could be explained if it was a sheet of hydrogen ice stretched out by the Sun's gravity. Additionally, Oumuamua showed no signs of cometary activity, such as a tail of dust or gas. This is consistent with the idea that Oumuamua is not a comet, but an object composed of hydrogen ice. This theory is not without its fault, though. It is unclear how the hydrogen gas would have escaped from the object's surface without being slowed down by its gravity. Despite these challenges, the hydrogen gas theory is a promising explanation for the acceleration of Oumuamua. It is a simple and elegant explanation that is consistent with all of the available observations. If the hydrogen gas theory is correct, it would mean that Oumuamua is the first known interstellar object propelled by a non-gravitational force. Though the Oumuamua had long disappeared from our sight within the solar system since 2017, in what looks like a final appearance, the mysterious object has reappeared. This time, it is finally on its way out of our solar system, and is projected to be completely gone within this year. Sadly, this is happening at a crucial time, when the Vera C. Rubin Observatory is not yet completed. Formerly known as the Large Synoptic Survey Telescope, LSST, the Vera C. Rubin Observatory is an astronomical observatory currently under construction in Chile. It is scheduled to be completed in 2025 and will be used to study the universe by taking images of the sky every few nights for 10 years. This will allow astronomers to study the evolution of galaxies, the formation of stars and planets, and the search for dark matter and energy. If the observatory had been launched before the event of Oumuamua, the observatory would have detected the object much earlier. So will the Oumuamua be gone forever? Oumuamua's fate is unknown. It is currently on a trajectory that will take it out of the solar system and back into interstellar space. It may return to our solar system in the future, or that it will encounter another star system. Now that the Oumuamua seems to be leaving our solar system, scientists can only wonder if its coming was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, as there is no certainty it would ever return. Though we cannot control the Oumuamua's movement, scientists are not giving up and would rather pursue the strange object if possible. Fortunately, this is possible, and scientists are already making numerous proposals. Some of these proposals include the solar orbit maneuver methods. The solar orbit method is a proposal for catching up to Oumuamua that involves using the sun's gravity to slingshot a spacecraft around the sun and give it enough speed to catch up to Oumuamua. This method would be less challenging and expensive than the gravity assist proposal, but it would also require a more precise calculation of the spacecraft's trajectory. The solar orbit method would involve launching the spacecraft using the sun's gravity to slingshot around the sun and give it enough speed to catch up to Oumuamua. The spacecraft would then use a solar or laser sail to accelerate up to 1 billion miles per hour, which would be fast enough to catch up to Oumuamua. The solar orbit method is a promising proposal for catching up to Oumuamua. However, it is still in the early stages of development and is still being determined if it will be feasible shortly. Other than the solar orbit maneuver, another proposal is to use a gravity assist from Jupiter to slingshot a spacecraft around the planet and give it enough speed to catch up to Oumuamua. Another proposal is to use a solar sail, a large thin sheet of material propelled by the pressure of sunlight. A solar sail could accelerate a spacecraft to up to 200,000 miles per hour, fast enough to catch up to Oumuamua. However, these proposals are very challenging and expensive. The gravity assist proposal would require a precise calculation of the spacecraft's trajectory, and the solar sail proposal would require a very large and powerful solar sail. It is unclear if either of these proposals.
Look at my crack.
Inappropriate.
Your car has a dead safety system. You've got to get your windshield replaced and recalibrated by a highly trained tech like Ross. There you have it, folks. Like it never even happened. Make sure to book your appointment with the proposal Safe Life.
Safe Life Repair, Safe Life Replace.
Will be feasible shortly. There is also a proposal to use a laser sail, a type of solar sail propelled by a laser beam. Laser sails are still in the early stages of development, but they have the potential to be much more powerful than traditional solar sails. If a laser sail could be developed that is powerful enough to accelerate a spacecraft to speeds up to 1 million miles per hour, it would be possible to catch up to Oumuamua. Let's talk about the Lyra project. The Lyra project is a feasibility study of a mission to interstellar objects such as Oumuamua and 21 Borisov, initiated on October 30th, 2017 by the Initiative for Interstellar Studies, I4IS. The project is led by Dr. Bruce Betts, a senior scientist at I4IS. The Lyra project is investigating several proposals for catching up to Oumuamua, including a solar orbit method, gravity assist method, and solar sail or laser sail. The project is also investigating the development of new technologies that could make it possible to catch up to Oumuamua, such as laser sails. Project Lyra aims to assess the feasibility of sending a spacecraft to Oumuamua or 21 Borisov within 5 to 25 years. The challenge is to get to the asteroid in a reasonable amount of time, and so at a reasonable distance from Earth, and yet to be able to gain useful scientific information. Using a gravity assist method from Jupiter to increase the spacecraft's speed, using a laser sail to propel the spacecraft, using a nuclear thermal rocket to propel the spacecraft. The best option for sending a spacecraft to Oumuamua or 21 Borisov will depend on several factors, including the spacecraft's mass, the distance to the asteroid, and the desired scientific objectives. Project Lyra is still in its early stages, but it has the potential to be a groundbreaking mission that will allow us to learn more about the origins of life in the universe. The project is expected to cost several $1 billion. The project is expected to take several years to complete. Project Lyra is a long shot, but a mission worth pursuing. The potential rewards are enormous, and the project team is determined to make it a reality. The recent encounters with the Oumuamua have been very enlightening for scientists, because the intense study of the Oumuamua, it has become known that the Oumuamua is not the only interstellar object that has visited the Earth. Judging by its unique features, which distinguishes it as an interstellar object, scientists are now very certain that the outgassing 96P Mach-Holtz, which arrived in our solar system earlier and orbited our sun in dramatic moves as an interstellar comet as well. This discovery shows that Oumuamua is not the first interstellar object that has visited Earth and will not be the last. So even if scientists never catch up with Oumuamua, it is assumed that strange objects like it will likely show up again in the future. What do you think about the speculations around the Oumuamua? Do well to share your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you found this video helpful, feel free to like it, share it, and subscribe for more of this kind.
Making healthy taste this good. Science did that.
20th century came to a close. Two
What we know now is that Yevgeny Prigozhin has agreed to turn around his columns on the way to Moscow, and they've gone back to field camps. We've seen video of some of those Wagner fighters leaving the Rostov-on-Don city, that southern military stronghold that they took over last night. You can see them walk into the base there without even firing a shot. They're leaving. He indeed himself was pictured in an SUV wearing a baseball cap in that city. It seems driving out and being cheered by locals. So that answers one question the Kremlin weren't able to answer themselves. Where is Yevgeny Prigozhin? He seems to be leaving Rostov. But the Kremlin also offered a very elaborate series of solutions to how today has finally come to an end. In their statements, they think Yevgeny Prigozhin is now bound for Belarus. Interestingly, Belarus's president stepped forward, and Russian state media has backed that up to suggest that he played a role as kind of an intermediary here, getting Yevgeny Prigozhin to agree to stand down at the behest of Vladimir Putin. We also know that Wagner fighters who were involved in this particular march on Moscow, as it's been termed by some, they will not face prosecution. The Kremlin saying that their bravery on the front lines has been recognized, and those who were not involved in the march can in fact join the Russian Ministry of Defense. So an utterly bizarre, sudden 180 towards the end of today, where Yevgeny Prigozhin, by his own suggestion, was 125 miles outside of the outskirts of the capital city, unimpeded, frankly, all that way, bar some minor clashes perhaps with helicopters on that main highway, suddenly decides to change his mind, and then, according to the Kremlin, is now part of a deal where it's agreed to go into exile in Belarus and be done with it, all without facing prosecution. It's an utterly baffling turn of events here. Vladimir Putin began the day angrily denouncing an armed insurrectionist blackmail as terrorist methods, and now appears to have struck a deal with Prigozhin, who will essentially, it seems, if this is really the case, that the Kremlin's version of events will go into effect, will now be safe in Belarus. It will have an impact on Russian positions on the front lines, because Wagner have been key fighters there, certainly. But I've got to tell you, Wolf, it feels like we're missing some key facts here. It feels like we're missing something in the negotiations with Prigozhin, or something in his calculations. Did this just a long-planned effort, it seems, go too frighteningly well? Did he find himself too close to Moscow and decide to pull back? Has something else gone on that we're not aware of? It doesn't really make sense at this particular stage. What it does do, though, is embarrass the Kremlin and certainly show that Vladimir Putin is not the all-powerful man in Russia that he appeared to be more of 24 hours ago.
Also, as you say, utterly bizarre, and clearly Putin is vulnerable right now. Nick Bakermoss reporting for us. Stay with us. U.S. intelligence has been closely monitoring the situation. I want to go to our chief national security correspondent, Jim Trudeau, joining us live right now. You have some new reporting, I understand, Jim, about what U.S. intelligence actually knew leading up to these truly extraordinary and historic events.
That's right, Wolf. U.S. Western intelligence partners have been watching Russia for some time, but in recent days, they had detected preparations. They believed that Prigozhin was making preparations and planning for a major challenge to Russian military leadership in recent days and weeks. They were surprised by the speed of his operation in the last 24 hours, but were not surprised that this challenge was taking place. They've seen a number of preparations in the lead up to this. The massing of weapons, contacts with regular Russian army units, and then, of course, his very public statements critical of Russian military leadership, and right up to Vladimir Putin in recent days and weeks as well. And they saw all those signals and saw those as preparations for some serious challenge to Russian military leadership, which is what we seem to have seen play out over these tumultuous last 24 hours. I will say that during that time frame, another thing they were watching closely as Prigozhin marched his forces first to Rostov-on-Don and then further, at least towards Moscow, was how much or how many Russian regular army units would join him in that. Early on, as we were discussing earlier in the day, they noticed that many Russian units did not seem to be challenging Prigozhin's advance, though not perhaps joining him, but at least not challenging him, letting him pass by. What isn't clear is that there was a critical mass of other forces joining him in this challenge here, and that could have been an influential factor in what we've seen just in these last couple of hours there, a reversal by Prigozhin and his forces, and now seeing them leave, head back to their camps, to their bases.
Very important indeed. Our Jim Shudo reporting for us. Thank you. Ben Wiedemann is also tracking what's going on. He's getting reactions from inside Ukraine. He's live in Zaporizhia in the war zone in Ukraine, joining us right now. So, Ben, what are you learning? What's the situation there?
There is a growing problem in nearly every school in America. It's back to school for students, but not for some teachers who are leaving the profession in record numbers.
Teacher shortages were like a dam, and before the pandemic, we had a slow leak in the dam, and then it broke the dam wide open.
Every year, America's teachers are disappearing. Since the pandemic, over 280,000 teachers have left the workforce. We met Mallory, the founder of Reach University. She believes that we have an entire workforce of teachers hiding in plain sight, but they don't have their degree yet because the system is rigged against them.
Over 1 million people want to become teachers and are working every day in classrooms as paraprofessionals, but they can't become teachers because they cannot afford to earn their college degrees.
Mallory's idea: provide free access to apprenticeship degrees to teaching aides. But it won't be easy. Reach University will be the fight of their lives.
This is incredibly challenging, but what I look forward to most, more than anything, is for my kids to see me put my task.
Well, I must say, Wolf, it has been a long, strange day. This morning, when everyone here in Ukraine learned that at 7:30 a.m. local time, that Prigozhin and his men appeared to have seized some critical military facilities in southern Russia, in Rostov-on-Don, it seemed that perhaps Russia was on the brink of something huge. Ukrainian officials started talking about perhaps this is the beginning of the collapse of the Russian state, perhaps the beginning of a civil war. Even President Zelensky, in his nightly address to the nation, suggested that perhaps Vladimir Putin was on the run.
Ben Wiedemann reporting from Zaporizhia in Ukraine. Ben, thank you very much. Stay safe over there, as I say to you every day. CNN's Nick Payton-Walsh is back with us. I also want to bring in retired General Wesley Clark, the former NATO Supreme Allied Commander, and retired Colonel Cedric Layton, both CNN military analysts. General Clark, Moscow was bracing for a potential Wagner assault. There's no doubt about that. Yet now the Kremlin says they've struck a deal with Prigozhin. What's your reaction to these late-breaking developments?
I agree with what Nick said, that we don't have all the facts. There are missing facts here. Here's a couple of things that don't add up. Number one is, do we really know that there was a rocket strike on Prigozhin's troops? We don't really know that. We've seen some video of it, but we don't have any evidence of that. We do know that tactical nuclear weapons have been supposedly moved into Belarus. Is it possible that this is all a sort of masquerade distraction to be able to redeploy the Wagner Group troops into Belarus? We don't know that. We don't really understand the essence of the deal. So there's a lot of facts here that don't make sense, but it doesn't seem that Prigozhin is the kind of person who would have launched something like this, prepared for it, and then suddenly just decide, well, I don't seem to have the troop support, I think I'll just cut a deal and go into exile in Belarus. This is a man who controls Syria. He's got troops all over Africa. He's bringing in gold. It's worth a lot of money. There's a lot more here that we're not seeing yet.
I suspect you're absolutely right. Colonel Layton, we do have some new video of Prigozhin supposedly leaving Rostov-on-Don military headquarters with crowds cheering him. Does Putin still see Prigozhin as a threat as long as Prigozhin is still alive?
Well, that I think is one possibility. That he is still a threat to this. I agree with General Clark. This is one of the most bizarre situations that we've dealt with in a long time. The other possibility is that this is a huge masquerade
least you can skip the car wash. For parts that fit your vehicle, look for the green check. Let's ride.
got his start focusing more on catering businesses and restaurants, earning himself the nickname Putin's Chef.
With the many foods that were shadowed various period, he was known by some officials as being in charge of Vladimir, but becoming impacted very half-hearted. They didn't want it to be known that this group that existed that relied on the powerful. Wagner is nothing like what Americans might understand as a private military company. Wagner are mercenaries for hire. They massacre and rape civilians, they exploit and loot natural resources, and they carry it out, much of this back to the Kremlin. The significance of this video is it immediately targets the Wagner really relied on the him happening on camera, finding Wagner activities and describing what they're doing.
We have planted a flag and saying, I'm in charge here. I've got permission to do whatever I like.
Если приезжают в первый день, если туда места попал, делаем ответ за всех, вот это
That is, in fact, the function of the coming out story, is to convince us that that is the only story that there is to know. This is a story about the exchange of billions and billions of dollars for large-scale weapon platforms, for training equipment, for oil and gas exploitation. What there really seems to be a very strange organization.
What's going on with you, Kevin?
It doesn't look at all like a classified military company. In fact, it's probably better to call it a state-backed paramilitary cartel.
These shadowy pro-Russian forces here violently took over government facilities. The Russian mercenaries were from the Wagner Group, the Wagner Group, the Wagner Group, a shadowy security firm linked to Yevgeny Prigozhin.
The tentacles of Wagner spread across Africa, Syria, and Ukraine. They relish in their brutality.
More appropriate than designating it as a foreign terrorist organization. Could someone like Prigozhin ever actually threaten Vladimir Putin to hold on power? This is absolutely unclear how long this will last.
As a first responder, extrication of patients is one of the biggest challenges. It's really easy to make a bad situation worse.
We don't need providing levels to rise. For us, technology should be a helper to defend or to aid somebody in difficult situations.
My name is Marat. I am former partner fighter.
In the 10 years since its founding, the Wagner Group has evolved from a small guns-for-hire operation into a sprawling network of businesses that has been active on 4 continents.
This is setting up a broader network of infrastructure where Wagner could potentially surge presence in response to a given opportunity or threat And also, it seized the opportunity to really pad their influence from one country to another.
Wagner currently has approximately 50,000 personnel deployed in Ukraine, including 10,000 contractors, 40,000 pilots.
President Putin wants Russia to be a great power again. He wants to have control throughout not only Europe and Asia, but also in Africa and other parts of the world. He's been able to send in his mercenaries, we love them, to do the dirty work.
The Wall Street Journal examined shipping records, government databases, sanctions documents, and corporate records to identify 64 companies linked to Wagner's founder, Yevgeny Prigozhin. We found more than half of those are being used by Wagner as a complex network of phone companies to hide the flow of money and materials that ultimately head to the Kremlin. Neither the Kremlin nor Prigozhin responded to requests for comment about our findings.
The money could flow back through the corporate form, and they could be used to pay salaries. They could be used to pay weaponry. They could be used to pay for everything that a military needs, but not coming through the Russian state. It's always going to be a game of whack-a-mole for the U.S. and other governments, because the more companies that are sanctioned, the more companies will be created to evade sanctions.
Десятый. С момента создания некоторого правового государства мы его создали.
Every part of what the Wagner Group does is directed by the state for the state to profit from the state. From the beginning, the Wagner Group was carefully engineered to hide its connection to the Kremlin.
Kremlin Wagner officials say that the way it was done, the Dmitry Gorton's catering company, Concord, was making money from the defense contracts. So he was getting contracts to provide food and other services for the Russian army, which in turn will be invested for nothing.
It is a classic money laundering technique. Concord Catering was what it sounds like. It was set up as a catering company that had secret deals with the Kremlin. So the Kremlin would pay it, and it was the catering company. And then as part of that, there are ways to skim that money off the top and ensure that the money goes to the appropriate folks that Prigozhin wants to pay. So we see parts of that money flow that is expected when Wagner got its start.
Origin story of the Wagner Group is basically about paperwork. At the beginning of the war in Donbass, I mean, Crimea, we saw a lot of guys without little green men running around, and they were often talked about as not being there.
Kremlin also used Ukraine to support Russia, and Ukrainians should support Russia. So it tried to foment a revolution, some kind of uprising into Ukraine.
Russia used small mercenary groups to support pro-Russian separatists in their fight against Ukrainian forces.
Now, one of these groups was Wagner, because they offered plausible deniability for the Russians. They could say that these were locals who simply decided to rise up against the rulers in Kiev.
There are no Russian units in Ukraine, no special forces, no instructors. Those are all local residents.
I just created this job. I witnessed a lot of evidence that both could not explain some kind of military crimes and attacks against a lot of population. They had a lot of misunderstanding who was responsible for these attacks.
At the war in Donbass developed, a former Russian Special Forces officer began to name for himself.
Dmitry was one of the original commanders in Wagner. And in fact, his call sign was Wagner. That's what gave its name. Now, he was known as Wagner because of his genocide.
Russia's attempt to foment an uprising in Donbass ultimately faced stiff resistance from the Ukrainian army. And according to the Ukrainian intelligence service, the target pro-Russian separatists who oppose negotiating a ceasefire with Ukraine.
There are a lot of local activists beginning to rock local news. They, but was not involved in Russia. They were not significant, having any kind of real influence. All these people would possibly become uncontrollable for the majority of local leaders, local officials, local people will be step by step under some bench documents.
Actually, there were a death squad that was sent out to clean up the critical problems that the Kremlin was dealing with during this negotiation process.
The might of Wagner Group rose from year to year because they appeared to be very effective for destruction after their invasion. Would hide any kind of capability this kind of
Но позвонил мой товарищ и сказал мне, что в России появилась такая вот структура военизированная. Я вывел в этом сам, для того, чтобы начать жить заново, и применить свои навыки и знания военных.
In 2015, Russia intervened in the Syrian civil war, and Wagner was used to protect energy resources for the Assad regime. It was the beginning of a new business model for the group.
And in return, they get a share of the natural resources, the looting of the country.
It was a pivotal role in a conflict that put one of Russia's most important allies at risk.
Первая задача Севера – это спасти вообще режим Асада. Наша задача была участие в войне против сил, которые зародились в талантах.
That meant Wagner and the Russian military fought against any combination of U.S.-backed rebels, Kurdish forces, and ISIS.
With gold, live state version earlier to buy second backgrounds about a threat. It's about superstars. It's a good golf tour. And the best golfers in the world. It's about time you see when professional golf has been missing. Watch Live Golf Valderrama live, starting Monday of the season.
Wagner employed its fighters in Syria through a company called Everpolis. Everpolis was also the company the Syrian government hired to protect its oil fields.
На тот момент действовала такая картина. За месяц пребывания в учебном Сирии, если боец охотно что-то любит своей жизни, то тут ему бывает 80 дней,
Ultimately, these sanctions that are paying the salaries of fighters doesn't really matter. They're just big pass-throughs that allow Russia to manage money and things and make sure that there are no prying eyes.
Oil was particularly lucrative for Wagner in Syria. Everpolis' contract with the Syrian government showed that for every oil field it captured, it got 25% of production.
25% of the natural resources, the energy resources that was able to be exploited. An incredible amount for a company far afield in Russia.
By 2017, Wagner captured at least 4 of the country's largest oil and gas fields, which earned the group tens of millions of dollars per year from each field.
Exploiting oil and gas, exploiting Americans did it, exploiting Kurds did it, forget that. That was the objective.
Al-Shayr gas field in Homs is one of the largest in Syria. In 2017, Wagner worked with the Syrian military to defend it from ISIS. Many of the Syrian troops have been pulled into service by the Assad regime. During a battle with ISIS, some of those Syrian fighters tried to escape.
Wagner
Even though Wagner lost the fight for the chemical gas plant, he still served the